This past month, my husband and I went on a 4,000-mile road trip spanning 16 states. We drove from Florida to Maine and back. Colton just finished grad school and we've been staying with his parents, my in-laws, while we prepare to move across the country and find a place to call home. But we have always wanted to see the East Coast, and the more we thought about it, this was the perfect time to do so. So we got in the car, and it went like this. Welcome to the Road Trip Diaries. Chapter 1, Appalachia. I have always wanted to visit these mountains, a place where people lived by their own faith and planted by the moon. After visiting, I must say, the rumors are true. It's as magical as you can imagine. Folk magic runs deep here, and there's something old wives' tale-esque around every corner. Throughout the region, we stopped at several state parks, which allowed us to hike and learn the history of the land, including the local flora and fauna that live here. Appalachia is dotted with unique cities and towns, each with their own character. I've heard that the warmer months here are spectacular, but there is something about winter in these rolling hills that has bewitched me. Here it snowed for the first time on our trip. We are in Asheville, North Carolina, and it gently fell as we watched mallards enjoy a newly thawed spring. Chapter 2, Washington, D.C. Before the trip, this was one of Colton's most anticipated spots, and it did not disappoint. I don't generally gravitate towards cities, but I found myself very pleasantly surprised here. The public transport was the best we've seen in all of the United States, and it was so walkable. Perhaps the biggest surprise was that the majority of museums are free. Some you just have to reserve a time to go. For days, we wandered the DC streets, weaving in and out of museums, monuments, and memorials. Our days were full of science, art, history, and folklore. Chapter 3, Princeton. We got to see several friends and family on this trip, the first being Gabe, Colton's cousin who goes to Princeton. Touring the campus with him had me longing for the days when esteemed universities held astrology chairs. Should anyone wish to put me in a castle and consult me on all important matters, I am available. There was a time when astrologers gave guidance on when to go to war, made medical diagnoses, and advised on the future of kings. Now I don't do any of that anymore, but you can book me for a reading if you're interested. Chapter 4, Caroline. From one familiar face to the next, our next stop brought us to visit my friend Caroline, who lives in the mountains of New York State. I met Caroline last year when she attended my witchcraft retreat in Costa Rica. When she found out I was headed in her direction, she invited us to stay with her and her husband for a few days. I want to thank them again for having us. They live such a beautiful, slow life in the countryside. They recently bought 10 acres of land, and she took me on a tour of the property, which is just teeming with plants and animals, eastern hemlock trees and deer especially.
So these are all the baby beech trees, these little guys, so that's what they grow up in. So they grow we had like 40-mile-an-hour gusts. It's like terrifying. Yeah. So this is some turkey tail on a stump. I think it's dead because it always looks like this, so I think it's dead turkey tail, but it's a cool type of shelf fungus.
Living this way has been a dream of hers, as is many witches, and I'm so happy she's been able to accomplish it. The way that she talked about nurturing and protecting this land was divine. We walked around and noticed the little ways in which the earth was waking after the long winter, with some of the more delicate creatures not making it through, like this stag whose remains lied at the edge of this frozen lake. Caroline said she saw a wounded deer sprinting through the trees a few days before we arrived. The cycle of life and death is so prevalent in the countryside. Yeah, you can see this is where his hair fell out. And then he made it.
He did not make it.
Say that again.
He did not make it there.
After an amazing couple of days with my friend Caroline, we are going to head out. And today, we woke up to our first winter wonderland. Along the way, we have seen snow on the ground and had a couple sprinkles here and there, but it is really beautiful outside and the most snow that we've seen on this trip. A blessing and a curse because we're doing a lot of driving today, but it is gorgeous. Hey, watch what you're doing with that snow. You're getting a bit too close to me.
Oops.
Hey! It sounds like sugar.
It really does.
From there, we kept driving north to reach our next destination. Chapter 5, Vermont. We were headed to the largest city in the state, Burlington. stopping along the way at whatever caught our eye.
I am so excited to see Burlington. We have a really cute Airbnb to stay in tonight, so we're gonna head there, check in, and then explore the town. And along the drive, I will tell you to pull over basically at random times, and then we'll check out things like this, which is why we're here. I just said stop.
Definitely worth it.
Definitely worth it. That's the best way to road trip, just like with the occasional
Unexpected
turns.
surprise.
Yes.
Vermont was our favorite state overall. It's very one of its own, unique to itself and very different than any other state. Likely, this is because it used to be its own country until 1791. Everything is just so pristine with nature at the forefront. There are no skyscrapers, no billboards, and hardly any franchises because almost everything is locally owned. It was a very Gilmore Girls-esque place. Town hall meetings every Sunday, mayor parking in front of the city hall. I loved it, and I'd live there in a heartbeat. Burlington is a truly walkable city. There are no cars allowed downtown, and it's sprawling with small shops and delicious restaurants. This was one of my favorites, an oddities market called Flora and Fauna. The city overlooks Lake Champlain, which has a lake monster, interestingly enough. The locals call him Champ, and he looks like a giant water lizard or a plesiosaurus. Essentially, America's version of the Loch Ness Monster. Just outside of town is Shelburn Farms, this educational nonprofit dedicated to inspiring a sustainable future. If you've been to the Biltmore Estate in Asheville, North Carolina, this property was owned by a member of the same family. But while that one is comically expensive to visit, so we didn't go, this one is free and dedicated to teaching about conservation.
Stormy nights don't stay. From the moment that we met, you were worth the wait. Oh, this could be the best thing that I'll ever know.
You can explore the grounds of this working farm by yourself and purchase their products there.
Talk for hours, I never slept. Two silhouettes on the concrete steps. We watched the sun as it slowly crept from the horizon to the place we met. Oh, this could be the best thing that I'll ever know. Best thing that I'll ever know.
Chapter 6: Acadia National Park. A treasure trove along Maine's most northern coast.
Miles and miles of the clear blue skies. We drive straight as a narrow flies. No,
I have long wanted to visit this national park. Situated next to Bar Harbor and other quaint oceanside villages, this is one of the most beautiful regions in all of the country.
as the day turns into night. We've got time to waste, let's waste it right. We got time to waste, let's waste it right.
Known for its rugged coastline, picturesque mountains, and forests that fall directly into the sea.
We're about halfway there to the thunder roll. We just passed the sand beach. And then we go to the Otter Cliff after.
If you wander back again.
Winter is the off-season here, so we had the park all to ourselves.
Call my number, call my name.
There are a lot of pros and cons to traveling when no one else is. Things are more affordable, but sometimes they're closed or impassable. There were hikes that we couldn't do at this time and shops that were shut down, but we will be back for those.
Call my number, call my name. If you wander back again. Call my number, call my name. We both know I'm to blame.
It would be interesting to visit these places again during season and see how they differ.
We both know I'm to
Hello from Salem. We have just made it to the Witch City. I am so excited to be here. We have just come from Maine, so at this point we are working our way back down now. Another thing I feel like we should fill you guys in on, and it's been a conversation that we've had a lot of, is the plan right now is to move to Oregon. As soon as we get back, pretty much, we are going to rest for a little bit, and then we are going to
Another road trip.
go on another road trip, and we're going to drive across the country the opposite way. Most likely. Potentially, we could come back up here. I'd say the odds are like 80% we're moving to Oregon.
Yeah. I already have the license and everything.
Yeah. And like 20% we may find a home up here. And as we explore things, the East Coast is really special.
Oh, yeah.
We found a lot of areas that we could see ourselves in.
Sorry.
You okay?
Mhm.
Okay. We found a lot of areas that we could see ourselves in. I just feel like life is too short. You know how you want to do it all? Like, you're like, I want a life in Maine, on that little peninsula next to Acadia State Park. I want a life next to Boston. I want a life in the Oregon forests. I just want to live everywhere. I just feel like there's not enough time. And I get lost in the possibility of all these little lives that I have created. Because everywhere I go, I'm like, oh, I could go to that coffee shop. And I could go to that bookstore. And then maybe I could turn Simply Witched into a physical location one day. And it could be on this street. And that energy is really strong because we are in Salem now. But that's a little bit of what we've been talking about a lot.
No, many conversations.
But it's exciting, and I can't wait to see wherever we end up. And I'm really excited to explore Salem. Let's go meet the witches.
Let's do it.
Chapter 7, Salem. One witch in particular that we were set to meet is my friend Kat. She's a fellow content creator, and this was the first time we were meeting in person, but it certainly didn't feel like that. As a true New Englander, Kat knew Salem like the back of her hand. She took us to all the best museums and shops, and it was a wonderfully witchy day. Another highlight of the trip, somewhere I've wanted to go for ages, and it did not disappoint.
Okay, Kat, come here. Okay, cheese.
Full of education and history, I'm so glad folks are there giving a voice to the innocent victims of witch hunts. And while all of those who lost their lives in Salem were not witches, there's something very special about actual practitioners flocking to this location to spread awareness on religious freedom and misconceptions within the craft. If you don't know, virtually no one who has ever been tried for witchcraft has actually been a witch. Witchcraft was just used as a scapegoat to target oppressed individuals. Contrary to the incredibly heavy energy in Salem, it was also very campy, which I obviously loved. For all of these reasons, I know Salem will stick with me for a long, long time. Chapter 8, Boston. The second big city that I found myself pleasantly surprised in. Same as DC, the public transport here is excellent. We easily got everywhere we wanted to go, though Boston is much, much older, and that is easily reflected in the architecture around you. Complete with ornate detailing and original cobblestone streets for as long as the eye can see. One of our favorite places was the Boston Public Library. Yes, this is their library. The oldest in the country, in fact, and the first to rent books. I could spend all day here in the stacks. My favorite thing about cities is how nature persists. It's not the countryside, but once you accept that and stop looking for it, you will discover that cities have a magic that is entirely their own.
Forever falls in love with the guy that wears sweater vest. She used to be mine, but now it's like we never met. Forever leaves fast in the middle of the night.
After a full and exciting day in Boston, do you want to tell them where we're heading?
We are headed to Provincetown in Cape Cod.
It's going to be a couple hours to drive out there. We get to drive the whole Cape and we're going to make it to the end. And along the way, it's been so beautiful. We'll have to show you some of the shops that we've been stopping in. What have you noticed so far about this area?
It is very quiet. It's the off season and there's really not a lot of people here, but the weather's great, it's sunny, it's beautiful. I think we came at the perfect time.
I really like the architecture. There's a very specific style to the Cape Cod buildings, which I really love. And I didn't realize that this is the style because I have tons of these houses pinned on my Pinterest. And I didn't know that this is where that design originates. We did also just see something kind of cool. Do you know what it was? No?
No, what did we see?
What did we just see that was very unusual? We've never seen one.
Antique furniture store?
Oh, no,
Unusual, we've never seen one. A cheap lobster roll?
no. I got out of the car.
Yeah, we saw the cranberry bog. Right?
Yes,
That was pretty cool.
I think that was pretty cool.
Sorry, I didn't know the time frame we were talking about.
A teak furniture store.
I've never seen a teak furniture store. That was my first.
Today we're going to see lots of magical things like cranberry bogs and teak furniture stores.
Yes, and cheap lobster rolls. It's only
Yes.
$14.
We did score a $14 lobster roll, which is pretty good. Teak furniture stores.
I don't know.
Chapter 9, Cape Cod. Cape Cod is a hook-shaped peninsula that juts off the coast of Massachusetts. I've seen a lot of beaches, but there was something truly enchanting about this New England seashore.
This is really windy.
I totally understand why people come back here year after year. This and Maine were two places that Colton and I could both see us vacationing to time and time again. The last town on the Cape is Provincetown, and that is where we stayed. In the 1800s, an art college was founded here, and that gave birth to the Provincetown Art Colony. Thousands of artists, writers, actors, and left-leaning political radicals brought new ideas on gender and racial equality. Founded on freedom and acceptance, by 1920 it was known as an LGBTQ safe haven. Drag queens have performed here since the 1940s, and when gay marriage was legalized in Massachusetts in 2004, hundreds of queer couples got married here on that exact day, making worldwide news. Love built the bones of this place, and you can feel it in the air. Chapter 11, Charleston. This South Carolina port city, founded in 1670, is defined by its cobblestone streets, horse-drawn carriages, and pastel houses, particularly in the elegant French Quarter and Battery districts. I've never been here before, but one of my all-time favorite cities is Savannah, Georgia, which is widely considered its sister to the south. The two of them are very similar and hold a lot of the same charm. This area of the country has the most beautiful cemeteries, all fashioned in the historic Southern Gothic style. This was the last day of the trip of a lifetime. We weaved in and out of the colorful streets, reflecting on time spent. It was truly one for the books. Thank you for joining us. This trip was such a lovely way to bid adieu to the last chapter of our lives. By the time you see this video, we are on our way to Oregon. So no, we did not discover a home on the East Coast. Maybe in the next life. A whole other adventure awaits for us in the Pacific Northwest, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds. Stay tuned.